Talking with the experts.
Episode 266 with Levent Yildizgoren.
Expansion, reaching global customers is very, very rewarding. Is it easy to get started? No, because something that rewarding wouldn't be that easy to get started, Is it impossible to do? Definitely not. It requires a methodology. I can't say the word. It requires methodology. And that's what I noticed working with dozens of customers over the last 30 years. The ones that are successful have always followed a methodology. Success can sometimes come with luck and coincidence. That's perfectly okay. But my recommendation is not to leave it to chance or luck, but follow a methodology so that all the efforts that business executive put in place can be rewarding.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. This is where we discuss great ideas to take your business to the next level. How do we know these ideas work? Well, it's because we're talking with business owners who are using these ideas. Business owners who have years of experience and expertise. All things business by business owners for business owners. And now, here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. And today my guest is Levent Yildizgoren. Yildizgoren, that's pretty close. And he is from Turkey, and his business is called TTC We Translate. Oh my God, I can't even read my... And we're going to be talking about expanding to new export markets. Now, Levent was born in Turkey, but has spent the last quarter of a century running a highly successful professional localization service based in the UK. His decades of learning about the pitfalls and prizes the export markets presents are shared in his book through his lingo model. He has helped companies to do business in more than 100 languages. Welcome, Levent. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm getting a bit tongue-tied. I don't know why. I think I'm just so nervous meeting someone like you, who is just so
Rose,
famous.
Great to be with you, and thank you for the opportunity to come onto your show. I can't wait to speak with you. I can't wait to be speaking with you.
That's good. So we're going to be talking, as I said, about expanding to new export markets. Now, in the global climate as it is at the moment, how easy is it to expand your market to the exports?
Yeah, well, very good question, Rose. In the last few years, maybe like 5 years, and in the last 2 years since the pandemic, everything seems to have accelerated even further. The payment gateways, the logistics are all in place. So these are really making global expansion a much more easier process. I mentioned about logistics and the payment gateways. So for collecting payments from customers and also delivering the goods. However, it's not the only thing that has developed in the last few years. The online marketplaces. There are thousands of online marketplaces for businesses to sell their products or services to the customers in other countries. So to answer your question, I believe today is the most convenient time for many reasons for global expansion.
Yeah, I'm thinking more in the last 6 weeks with what's happening in the eastern countries, in the Ukraine and embargoes and sanctions and things. And if you have already had a market to those areas, is it feasible to continue doing that, or should people fall back and forth?
No, it's very logical and very good question again. So I'll approach this in two ways, if I may. Now, one of them is, if Ukraine or Russia is the only market for the business, then that would be like red flags, because both countries are, especially Ukraine, is going to a turmoil. Russia is there's so many sanctions imposed against Russia for what they are doing in Ukraine. So if there was a business that purely relies on one of these country markets, then that will be quite dangerous for them in regards to growth and collecting payments, and their goods may get stuck. So this would have been quite an unfortunate situation. So that brings me to the other aspect of your question, is that it is so critical not to rely on a single market. And I'll go as far as suggesting this, that single market shouldn't be your domestic market either. I say in my book, businesses would be considered crazy if they were to rely on a single customer. So why rely on single market? And the world is developing very much with all this means of e-commerce, means of expansion to other countries. But on the other hand, there is the element of volatility, such as pandemics, such as conflicts, such as one taking place right now. In this respect, expanding to multiple markets makes total sense. Of course, then comes a question, which markets? So that brings another set of questions that, of course, businesses and business executives need to take this seriously, so that the market that they expand to will have a requirement for their product or service, so that they can actually use it for growth.
Now, that was my next question. If you've got a wholly domestic market, but you're looking at expanding overseas, how does one go about doing that? Are there special regulations and laws and things that you must adhere to before you can start exporting your service or your goods? I mean, services you can do those anywhere, but goods specifically.
Well, I love that question, Rose. I mean, global expansion is great. We look at the companies who did this. I mean, one example is something that we use on daily basis, products such as Apple, Samsung, and many others. You look at them, and their growth is purely because of global reach. I mean, look at Facebook. Facebook has got billions of users, subscribers, because of their language, capability. Canva, which is an Australian product, they had 5 years ago, they had 4 million. In fact, I was speaking with a Canva's localization manager only a few days ago. They had 4 million subscribers 5 years ago. Now they have 65 million subscribers and increasing, because of their accessibility by offering different languages. So, expansion, reaching global customers is very, very rewarding. Is it easy to get started? No, because something that rewarding wouldn't be that easy to get started, Is it impossible to do? Definitely not. It requires a methodology. I can't say the word. It requires methodology, and that's what I noticed working with dozens of customers over the last 30 years. The ones that are successful have always followed a methodology. Success can sometimes can come with luck and coincidence. That's perfectly okay. But my recommendation is not to leave it to chance or luck, but follow a methodology so that all the efforts that business executive put in place can be rewarding. And that methodology that I refer to in my book is Lingo. It is a 5 simple steps to follow for global expansion. So going back to your question, it's not easy to get started, but however, it's not rocket science. It requires a methodological approach and insistence, of course, insisting on succeeding and making arrangements so that global expansion can be rewarding.
Yeah, so would it be advisable to go to a specialist who is, into helping you start your export business?
Well, absolutely. As the first step, if somebody is considering or wanting to explore exporting, my first recommendation will be to do some research on their own, because a lot of the stuff can be done desk-based. So reading some literature about export and the regulations, because regulations vary from country to country. So for an Australian-based business, it will be different than a UK-based business. And depending on which country that they are targeting, also there could be differences as well. So the initial step should be for a business executive to gather as much information as possible. In other words, try to find out what is it that you don't know, that you need to know in order to make this success. Then go to a specialist, because by then you will know which type of specialist you will need to make that success. And of course, reading books such as mine can be helpful as well, because there are many support and help out there. So trying to get hold of these and reading other people's success stories as well as failures. And I think somebody told me once that best lesson is when you learn from somebody else's mistakes.
Have you been thinking about starting a podcast? You can share your knowledge and expertise with people globally. Create original content that is completely unique from anything else out in today's market, not just in terms of style, but also perspective. And when we talk about revenue generating potential, well, let me tell you, it doesn't stop there. The time to start is now. You know that you should be doing it. However, many people are reluctant because they don't know how to produce it or what tools they need to do their podcast. Please feel free to email me at guest@talkingwiththeexperts.com today. And let's talk about how I can help you to build authority and credibility for your business through podcasting. Remember, don't wait for the opportunity, create it.
Why not do that? I loved it when I heard this. That makes so much sense. Why try to learn from your own mistakes? Of course, we should learn from our own mistakes, but isn't it much easier and cheaper to learn from someone else's?
Yes. So what's the title of your book, Levent?
My title of the book is, got excited now. When you mentioned my book, I got excited. It is called Good Business in Any Language.
Very good.
And it talks about a 5-step methodology that I call Lingo, that any company doing either products or services can follow, from market research to getting open for business. So those 5 steps will give them a structure to follow so that they can make this a success.
Would you be open to sharing a little bit about what this 5-step process is?
Yes, I'd love to. Also, if I may say, I'd love to offer the book to your listeners. Can I mention a website so that they can?
Absolutely.
If they visit levent.team, that is Levent, Levent.team, TEAM, they can visit the website and download the ebook version of my book or purchase one from Amazon. And for UK listeners, we are happy to post a paperback version.
Oh, how generous.
Yes, definitely. So that will be our pleasure to do. The 5 steps basically is starting from just make sure that I don't miss any of the steps. The 5 steps basically starting from the market research, because the most important aspect is which market to expand to. It's great that we hear about the success of expansion, global reach, but which one to go to? And the first step gives structure for finding, in other words, shortlisting few markets that can be interesting for the company. And at that stage, recommendation is maybe come out with like 2 or 3 countries or country markets. And often the countries within close proximity makes a lot more sense. According to data, USA does more trade with Mexico and Canada than any other country in the world. Why? Because of the close proximity. It makes total sense. It's probably true for Australia. You know, the countries that close to Australia is likely to be the countries that you trade most.
Yeah, New Zealand and places like close by.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because the habits, of course, if the language is similar as well or same, that makes total more sense. Second step is information gathering, and that is the time to look at the country that has been shortlisted. So to go a bit deeper into that country to make sure that, yes, actually, if, for instance, if you are thinking about expanding to New Zealand, then what are the barriers? This is the stage to discover the likely barriers in New Zealand. And sometimes that's very, very typical for European countries. Even Easter holidays could be in different dates. Christmas holidays can be in different dates. And in some countries, small as Belgium, there are 2 languages. And ignoring one can be quite costly for the business. So this is the information gathering stage, is the stage where you go a bit deeper to understand that, okay, that is the country that are qualified. Okay, this is the one that we are interested in doing business. Third stage is for navigate the market. This is to understand everything in that market and look for ways of distribution if it is for physical products. Is it best to go with distributors? Is it best to go with representatives? Or is it best to go through online marketplaces? And online marketplaces present a tremendous opportunity if the business executive chooses the appropriate one, because it varies from one country to another, depending on the type of product or service. China is a good example. There are so many marketplaces. If you're selling luxury goods, then you need to go to another one. If you're selling just consumables, it's another one, or simply just go to Alibaba or something like JD Digital. So this is the stage to look at all that details and find out what are the restrictions. If you're exporting fine wine to China, what are the restrictions? for instance, Chinese customs is likely to hold to fine wine in the customs for about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Why? I don't know, but this is the regulation. So an exporter has to take this into account. Where will they store this wine within those 3 weeks? Is it winter? Is it summer? Is it autumn? What will happen to the wine during that time? And if they don't take this into account and arrange proper storage facilities, it either will cost them a lot to make those arrangements at the last minute, or if they are not stored properly within that time, the quality may cost them a lot of money, because fine wine is attracted to certain demographics, and they'll only pay that price if it matches their criteria. So this is the time, this is the stage to look into all the details. G is for go operational. This is putting everything together, and it is important to take that step in a timely manner with all the preparations in place, because I've seen companies hesitating to go operational, and within that time they may lose motivation. Somebody else may go into the marketplace, because everything is happening in the world is so dynamic. So what we know is probably discovered by somebody else as well. So doing this in a timely manner is very important. And O is open for business. This is the time monitoring the business, dealing with mitigating circumstances, because the data we have after 12 months may not be the same. I mean, look at the customer behavior that happened following the pandemic. It has changed tremendously. It may not be as drastic as that, but it is important to follow the trends. So when we are open for business, monitoring the marketplace, monitoring the return on investment, and see what is changing, what is likely to happen in that marketplace. So this is the kind of framework of the Lingo model.
Very comprehensive model, and it makes total sense. Absolutely. Broken down like that, it does make a lot of sense to me. Anyway, at least I understand it, and would use that model because it's broken down so well, and I could follow it step by step, where I'm not left in the dark to flounder around and where do I go?
It's not rocket science really, but the mistakes that I've come across is that companies missing those steps because they got excited. They want to get started. They are motivated so much that they say, well, we'll deal with it later. So these are smart companies. Making those mistakes is only because they are not following methodology. Of course, when things go wrong, then people lose motivation, they lose money. I've seen customers making those mistakes because they didn't do their due diligence, and the market doesn't return the investment they made. They say, never again. Now, that's a shame, because this company I mentioned to you, they have a great product. They have great potential. They've just gone into the wrong market at the wrong time. And as a result of this, they're saying, never again. So this is, to me, that's a great shame.
It is a shame. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not one to give up easily. So if it didn't work the first time, I'd go round 2 or round 3 even.
yeah, absolutely. And you learn from what went wrong, and then just do it better, and just make sure that you take an action accordingly. Absolutely.
So where can people find your book other than on your website and Amazon? Is it anywhere else? Is it in bookstores or anything?
It is in bookstores. It can be ordered in any bookstore, like country specific ones, as well as online, and our website will be only pleased to provide them with either a downloadable copy. Otherwise, Amazon is probably one of the easiest places to obtain it.
Absolutely. Okay, that's wonderful. Have you got another book in the pipeline, or is this it?
Well, I mean, funny you said that, Rose. Now that I've written the book, I've received great feedback from other international experts, as well as from people who are trying to do global expansion. Now, I'm not saying that actually I should have written this. I'm not saying that I wanted to add this. And yes, there's definitely one in the pipeline. It's in the back of my mind. When, I'm not sure, but definitely, yes, definitely I can see another book kind of happening in the background.
Oh, good stuff. That's what I like to hear. Someone that's a bit motivated to write another book.
Well,
Levent, thank you. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. Have you got any words that you would like to share with our audience?
Yes, Rose, thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me. Much appreciated the opportunity to speak with you. Well, the one thing that I can share based on my experience is that when business executives are looking for growth, sometimes they can be too busy focusing on profit and loss accounts. Nothing wrong with that. We have to control the cost. But if we do this too much, we kind of lose sight of the growth opportunities. And the best way to grow business is to add another channel, another distribution channel to it. And export markets are one of the best distribution channels for a business that has a good product or service. So that would be my advice. Control your cost, absolutely. But for growth, look for new channels, new export markets.
Well said. I totally agree with you. It's what you can only move onwards and upwards and just keep expanding and doing the best you can.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Levent, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we should chat again.
Absolutely. It will be my pleasure, Rose. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.